Daniel Carter, a single father in his mid-30s, rushed into the restroom of a fancy downtown hotel. He had been delivering food nearby and stopped for a quick break before heading home to his young son, Ethan. Life hadn't been kind to Daniel. His wife had passed away 3 years earlier, leaving him to raise Ethan alone. Between working 2 jobs and trying to be both mother and father, exhaustion was a constant shadow under his eyes. As Daniel splashed water on his face, trying to wash away the fatigue of the day, the door creaked open. In walked a woman, not just any woman, but one whose commanding presence filled the entire space instantly. She wore a crisp designer suit, her heels clicking sharply against the tiles. But her expression was not one of calm elegance, it was of sheer panic. Their eyes met in the mirror. I'm sorry, this is the men's restroom," Daniel stammered, half embarrassed. The woman glanced behind her, then quickly shut the door. "I know. I needed somewhere safe to hide for a second." Her voice trembled, though she tried to mask it with confidence. Daniel frowned. "Hide? From who?" But before she could answer, loud footsteps echoed in the hallway. The woman held her breath, her back pressed against the door. Whoever was searching for her soon passed by, and silence returned. She exhaled shakily and turned to Daniel. "Listen," she said, "you never saw me here, all right?" It wasn't until she walked out that Daniel realized who she was. Victoria Hale, the youngest CEO in the city, head of Hale Enterprises, a woman whose face appeared in magazines, whose speeches aired on the news, and whose reputation was unmatched. She was the very definition of untouchable success. But what on earth was she doing hiding in a hotel bathroom? That night, Daniel couldn't stop thinking about it. Life carried on. He tucked Ethan into bed, packed school lunches, and counted every dollar in his worn-out wallet, but the image of Victoria Hale's terrified eyes haunted him. The next morning, the answer came in the form of a headline plastered across every news channel. Victoria Hale, city's most wanted, accused of embezzling millions. Daniel dropped the remote, stunned. The confident woman he had admired from afar, the one he had accidentally shared a restroom with, was now being hunted by authorities. But deep down, something didn't add up. The woman he saw wasn't a criminal mastermind. She was scared, desperate, almost innocent. Days later, fate intervened again. Daniel was walking home with Ethan when a black car screeched to a halt nearby. Out stepped Victoria, disguised in a hoodie and sunglasses. She looked nothing like the powerful CEO the world was tearing apart. She looked like a fugitive, broken, lost, human. "Wait," Daniel whispered, pulling Ethan close. Victoria noticed him and froze. For a tense moment, neither spoke. Then she whispered, "I need your help." Daniel hesitated. Helping her meant risking everything: his safety, his job, even Ethan's future. But when he looked into her eyes, he saw the same truth he saw in himself: someone fighting against a world that refused to give them a chance. He nodded. "Come with us." For weeks, Daniel sheltered her in his small apartment. Ethan, innocent and curious, grew attached to Miss V, as he called her. She cooked with them, helped Ethan with homework, and even laughed, a sound Daniel realized he hadn't heard in his home since his wife passed. Victoria revealed the truth. She was framed by her own board members, men who envied her rise and conspired to pin their corruption on her. Every paper, every news anchor, painted her as guilty, but she had evidence that could prove otherwise. She just needed time, and someone she could trust. "You believe me," she asked one night, her voice fragile. Daniel met her gaze firmly. I've been lied about before. I know how it feels when the world only sees the worst version of you. I believe you. But the risk grew heavier each day. Police combed the city. Neighbors grew suspicious of Daniel's late-night visitors. And Ethan, though too young to fully understand, worried about his dad's safety. One evening, officers came knocking. Victoria barely escaped through the back alley, but the close call made Daniel realize the truth. Protecting her wasn't just about kindness anymore. It was about doing what was right, even when the whole world said otherwise. Together, they hatched a plan. With Daniel's resourcefulness and Victoria's insider knowledge, they gathered hidden documents and digital files proving her innocence. Daniel even risked sneaking into Hale Enterprises under the guise of a deliveryman, slipping into offices to retrieve key evidence. It was dangerous. At one point, Daniel was nearly caught, his heart racing as guards patrolled the halls. But the thought of Ethan, and of the woman who had become more than just a fugitive in his home, gave him courage. The climax came at a city press conference. While reporters awaited the official capture of Victoria Hale, Daniel stepped forward unexpectedly, presenting the evidence on her behalf. Flash drives, files, recordings, all laid bare for the public to see. Gasps filled the room. Reporters swarmed. The so-called most wanted wasn't a criminal at all. She was a victim of betrayal. The corrupt board members were arrested within days, and Victoria's name was cleared. When the storm finally calmed, Victoria returned, not to her glass towers or fancy cars, but to the small apartment where it all began. "Why did you risk everything for me?" she asked Daniel quietly. Daniel looked at Ethan, who was coloring happily at the table, then back at her. "Because Ethan deserves to grow up in a world where people stand up for what's right. And because I think you needed someone to believe in you." Victoria's eyes softened, tears threatening to fall. For the first time in years, she wasn't the untouchable CEO, or the city's most wanted fugitive. She was simply a woman who had found trust in the most unlikely of places. Months later, Victoria started over, not as the cold face of Hale Enterprises, but as a leader who valued integrity above all. She even invited Daniel to work alongside her, not as an employee, but as a partner in rebuilding what corruption had tried to destroy. And though the city would forever remember her scandal, those who knew the truth remembered something else: the story of a single dad who risked everything to protect the woman everyone else had turned against.